UFOs are real, burgeoning, not going away. I am your intrepid host, Other Marzulli, coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of Santa Monica Mountains. So, former President Obama dropped a bombshell on us. We'll get into that first. A word from our very trusted sponsor. Something's brewing. You can feel it. The problem? You never know the full story until after. After the crash, after the collapse, after it's too late. And here's the brutal truth. You can't protect yourself after the fact. Folks, you have to be ready now. All this uncertainty, the chaos, the warning signs. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's just noise. But maybe it's the beginning of something a whole lot bigger. Nobody knows for sure. But waiting to find out, that's how people get hurt. Physical gold and physical silver aren't just investments. They're preparation. They're the foundation of real protection. My friends over at Noble Gold Investments have been helping Americans just like you protect themselves for nearly a decade. No pressure, no games, just proven insight when it matters most. Look, you're either prepared or you're not. Which one will you be when everything changes overnight? Folks, visit noblegoldinvestments.com, noblegoldinvestments.com for your free wealth protection kit. That's noblegoldinvestments.com. Remember, they're prepared. Don't panic. A couple of things here before I get into today's show. This came from Timothy. LA, thank you for your ministry. I enjoy following your videos, and I have purchased and read Rungs of Disclosure. Folks, if you have not read this is an interactive book. Go to runsofdisclosure.com, runsofdisclosure.com, because we're up to rung number 25. The book only goes to 17. So this thing is happening, and this might actually be another rung on the ladder of disclosure. And let's walk through it in just a second. So let's continue. I enjoy following your videos, and I have purchased and read Runs of Disclosure, and purchased and watched some of your movies. You often state that the church is sleeping, but some of us are awake. I share prophetic updates during service and address the alien hoax narrative from the pulpit. I just wanted to encourage you, yours in Christ, Pastor Timothy Allen. Pastor Tim, thank you so much. I think we've sent you some resources, but if we haven't, shoot me another email and we will just send you a private link to all 10 UFO films. And I just want to, a lot of great pastors are out there. They're in the trenches. They're trying to figure out what's going on. And thank you for the positive feedback. We really appreciate it. And for those of you who are awake out there, it's coming down. It is absolutely coming down. Time to wake up. Before we get into it again, the waiting room is being shipped. It'll probably ship to us this week. We are doing a special. It's not up on the website yet, but it will be soon. The Waiting Room was the first novel in 20 years. We're really excited about this. There will be a pre-sale, plus every copy will be autographed. Now, that's not up on the site yet, marzulli.com. It's not there yet, but it will be soon. And when it is, order early, and we'll sign it for you, and you'll get a couple of bucks off on the price too. I think it's listing for $21.99, so we'll probably take $5 off of that. Anyway, folks, that's it. Let's get right into it. So, former President Obama, well, let me back up. We know, when I say we know, let me back up again. Put it in reverse LA, quick. The scuttlebutt on the internet is this, that on July 8th, which by the way is the anniversary of the Roswell announcement. Hold on, let me get that and show it to you. Always good to have props nearby. So this is it. This is from July 8th, right there. RAAF captures a flying saucer, right? In Roswell region. There it is again. This is obviously a replica. Let me just make it a little bit bigger so you can definitely see it. All right, there you go, Bunky. So, the day later on the 9th, Ramey says excitement not justified. And that starts the decades of what we believe is deliberate cover-up by the powers that be. So on the 8th, they get it right. They did capture a UFO. Now, with scuttlebutt on the internet and all sorts of emails coming across my desk, can I vet any of this? No, I cannot. And we all know that you can't go out and say, oh, this is going to happen, because it might not. I can't vet this. I'm not in the inner circle of the White House. I'm about as far from it as you can get, right? So allegedly underlying, President Trump on July 8th is going to make a formal announcement to the peoples of the world that we're not alone. Now, what I do find interesting here is that Obama is like usurping uh, our president, which doesn't surprise me at all. That's how the game is played. Not only in Washington, D.C., but in Christian circles. How many of you have seen videos from what I would call, and I'm not saying this in a bitter spirit, trust me, Johnny come latelys who come forward and tell us all about the UFO phenomena, like they've been studying this for decades, that they're the ones who invented the phrase the coming Great Deception, which is in my very first book, Nephilim, A Truth is Here, published by Zondervan way back in 1998. I mean, what do you do with stuff like that? But that's how the game is played. And I'm a big boy. I'm 75 years old. I totally get it. But this is what we see. So not only does it happen in Washington, D.C., it happens in pious Christian circles. Now, all of a sudden, people are scrambling. And that's good. I'll say it again. If you're a pastor and you're watching this and you want resources, I will send you a private link to all 10 of our, let me just share what it looks like, all 10 of our UFO films done by Gil Zimmerman and myself. You'll have complete access to all this as well as all the other stuff so you can really get up to speed. If you don't have Runs of Disclosure, we will send you a free copy of Runs of Disclosure so you can read that too. It's important to get ARN so you can tell your people what the heck is going on and what may be actually the beginning of the coming Great Deception. We're not there yet, but we are on run 25, maybe 26. This will be another rung on the ladder. There's no doubt about it with Obama's statement. So let's roll the tape. I will stop and pause through it so we can glean what he's saying. Here we go.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 50.
Area 51.
Stop right there. Okay, so they're real. Huge announcement, right? If this was 10 years ago, you think Obama would say something like that? No, absolutely not. He's no longer on the world stage. He's no longer, in essence, relevant in the political in the political theater. However, let me back up on that. He is very relevant. He still is, in my opinion, the head of the Democratic Party. And who knows what's going on behind the scenes? I certainly don't. But as far as power, he doesn't hold power anymore. Doesn't have that. All that power goes to Donald Trump. So when Donald Trump stands up in the White House on a Friday night with the Joint Chiefs behind him and his cabinet and everybody else and states on the record, we're not alone in the universe, how does that affect the church? I will say this, remember this, that in 1 Timothy chapter 4, it states very clearly, with great specificity, the Spirit expressly states that in the latter days, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and the doctrine of demons. If this isn't the doctrine of demons, I don't know what it is. People are taken. They are abducted against their will. They are implanted. Are those implants actually the prototype to the mark of the beast? Well, we don't know that, do we? But they certainly could be. And that's in our Watchers film. I also recapitulate that in our 10 DVD box set. We took out the implant. Folks, we are the only Christian group on the planet ever to take out an implant from a man who had been abducted since he was 5 years old. That's Emil Jurek. I have lunch with him about once every couple of months. Great guy, stand-up guy. Emil, if you're watching, hats off to you, sir. So Obama says Area 51. Why would he even bring that up? Oh, what's that? What's that area? I believe that most of the bodies, this is conjecture, most of the bodies go to Wright Pat. Do some remain in Area 51? I have no idea. Possibly, one or two. But the craft, according to Bob Lazar, eyewitness, risks everything to come forward. Thank you, George Knapp, for breaking that story and remaining true to your journalistic standards for decades. Bob Lazar stated that he back-engineered the propulsion system from a downed alien craft. That's his words. Can I prove that? No, I can't. Can you prove it? Can George Knapp prove it? What we can do is listen to the testimony of Bob Lazar over the decades. It's never changed. He's never waffled. Something is going on. Oh, it's conspiracy theories, the stuff of tinfoil hat wearing people, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. No, it's not. Why? Because Congress has basically stated, all these whistleblowers, all these people have come forward and stated on the record that we're not alone. In the film, Age of Disclosure, which, by the way, led to our 10 speakers our Deception 2026, deception2026.com. Go to the site, lamarzulli.net. You can watch all 10 speakers for $20. Come on, do your homework. You need to. Some of the speakers, all the presentations were incredible, stellar, absolutely stellar. And you need to get up to speed. That's why the price is so low, $20 for 10 speakers. It'll take you at least 8 hours to go through that. A lot of content there, a lot of information. Do your homework, get up to speed. So where was I? I don't believe that these entities necessarily are in Area 51, but they are back engineering craft. They are back engineering the propulsion system. How do we know that? How many whistleblowers have come forward? In the film Age of Disclosure, they talk about this. I'm not making it up. Okay, let's continue.
There's no underground facility unless there's this enormous conspiracy and they hid it from the president of the United States.
So when he says that they hid it from the president of the United States, Mr. Obama, sir, with all due respect, did you ever try to go to Area 51? Has there ever been a president since, I would posit, Richard Nixon went to Area 51, and I think he did because of his residence in California, very short drive or flight to Area 51. I think he may have been, conjecture on my part, the last president ever to actually go into Area 51. And you know how I know that? Jackie Gleason talks about it. Jackie Gleason, this is, okay, conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat. There's no way to bet the story. But Gleason, in a tabloid interview, basically stated that Nixon took him and showed him alien craft and alien bodies, not making this up. We actually covered this, and it's in the first, I believe it's the first DVD in UFO Disclosure. So you can go check that out, streaming.lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net for $5. You can watch any of the films. But I digress as usual. So, back engineering craft, right? No president's ever been in there. When was the last time a president got into right path and said, and I've talked about this, we need a presidential decree from our president, Donald Trump, and the Joint Chiefs of Staff go in with armed guards, congressmen, senators, scientists, whatever. People need to go in and see what's at right path. That's the first thing. Then they need to go in and see what's at Area 51. Who pays for Area 51? It's so secret that nobody knows what's going on. I don't believe a president since President Nixon has actually got into that facility. So Obama drops the bomb, aliens are real. Okay, yawn, so what else is new? Are they aliens? I'll get into that in just a second. Let's finish this clip.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
So how were the aliens?
So, that's it. It's gone viral, obviously. I'm going to run this clip in the beginning again, just so you can see.
Aliens real? Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them. And
are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them.
So, okay, they're real, but I haven't seen them. Okay, so he never got into a secret underground base at Area 51 or Wright Pat or any place else. Those are the two we know about. Are there others? What do you think, right? So here's the President of the United States telling us he hasn't seen them. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? Why is it in the Age of Disclosure film, a gentleman looks right at the camera and states on the record, not only has he seen alien craft, but he's seen the bodies. Why would David Grush stand up in Congress and say, under oath, that we have non-human biologics, which were recovered from the crashed UFOs? Why would they say that? This is where we are at. And all this to state this, July 8th is the anniversary of the Roswell crash. Think about that. 1947. So it's getting up there. If President Trump stands up and states on the record for the whole world to hear, we are not alone in the universe. Yes, we have non-human biologics. Yes, we have craft. We believe that they are peaceful and more information will come out. Kind of like the Epstein files, right? More information will come out a year later. So, but I digress. It's happening. It's happening. How does it impact your faith? How does it impact your worldview as a Christian? I just got off the phone a few hours ago with Pastor Paul Begley. Paul interviewed Stephen Bassett. who apparently on the record stated, now that I'm going to be part of that virtual conference, but so I don't know what Mr. Bassett said, but I'm taking Paul Begley's words. And he said, the day of disclosure, all religions will just fall of their own weight. And that's not true, because every other religion will fall except for Christianity, because Christianity talks about this, talks about the Great Deception, talks about that men will faint for fearfulness coming upon the earth. What's coming upon the earth? It could be an asteroid, I get that, but I don't think so. Jesus says they'll be like the days of Noah. Is that happening? Absolutely, it's happening. Mixing of the seed, Genesis 3:15. I'll say it again. If you were going to keep one scripture away from the pastors, that's the one you keep. The idea of the seed war. You never let pastors know, up-and-coming pastors know, that there's a seed war. You never explain Genesis 3:15. You just step aside from that and introduce the Sephite theory, which of course is that the godly line of Seth marry the hoochie mamas of Cain, creating these Nephilim, these giants. Not buying that for a second. Sons of God is always translated B'nai Ha'Elohim. Always, always, always. No equivocation there. Therefore, we know what's going on. It's exactly like the days of Noah. There is a breeding program. Hybrids, according to Dr. David Jacobs and myself, are walking amongst us. Watch our DVDs. Watch our Al Matthews talks about encounters with the hybrid. Satan's outnumbered 2-1. He's building an army. That's a quote directly from our Watchers series with the late Dr. Chuck Missler. How does it affect you? Stephen Bassett's right. There will be a great falling away. There will be an exodus, if I can use that word, from the Christian church. It will change everything. A lot of you who are watching, some of you who come here for the first and second time, thank you. We really appreciate it. But if you're a Christian and you hear this, how do you even relate to it? This is why we've got a 10 DVD box set. We've got everything on streaming. You can watch it. Streaming at Marzulli.net. It's all there. The resources, run to disclosure. It's all there. Cosmic Chess Match. It's all there. I dedicated my life to this. The Lord led me in this. This is something I did not volunteer for. It's His ministry. It's His anointing. It's His leading. All glory to the King. So who is the King? The King is Jesus. So how do you get to know Jesus? If you think you know Jesus, but you don't know Him personally, then you don't know Him. Simple as that. How do you know Him? You confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord of the entire universe, King of the universe, Lord of the universe. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that He was raised from the dead, because He was. It's the only account in all of history that we have, except of course for Lazarus. Lazarus was raised by Jesus, who has power over life and death, over all things supernatural. That's it for today, folks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. I'll be back again tomorrow with another show. Thanks for watching.